I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me.
I was in the Whole Foods a couple of weeks ago, and I was in the cereal aisle, and I'm looking at all the cereals, right, trying to figure out which one do I want. There's the organic ones, and there's the tasty, sugary ones, and there's the healthy ones. And I'm like, oh my gosh, which one am I going to choose? And all of a sudden, this little boy comes scooting down the aisle and like slides and stops right in front of the cereal counter. And he goes, I want this one because it makes me roar, right? And I'm like, wow. And then his mom comes along and she says, are you sure that's the one you want? And he says, yeah, because this one makes me roar. I can feel it in my stomach. And then they scooted off. And I thought, wow, that's what I want to feel, right? When I want to feel something and I want to be something, I want to roar about it. So today, we're doing the White Stones ceremony, which is really about connecting with that roaring inside of us, that desire that we have to live our fullest, to be our fullest, and to really experience the truth of who we are. We say that the service is about getting a new name, right? But more than that, it's not so much about getting a new name. It's about getting a new understanding of who you are. What is it that desires to roar within you, that desires to experience your fullness, your light? Good morning. Welcome, y'all. And so the process that we're about today is, how can we get into this place? How can we get so open that our soul, our essence, gives us a word or two that we're going to write on a white stone, and to keep it as a memento for the rest of this year of how we want to be. How do you want to be? What do you want to do? And you don't have to answer that right now, and you might be going, oh my God, that's too big a question for this moment. Okay, well, I'm going to take you through a process today to help you to identify what it is that your soul, that spark of divine light within you, wants to have you be this year. Are you ready to do that? Are you willing to do that? All right, did everybody get a white stone? So you should have got a white stone and a pencil when you came in today. And these white stones are actually from Jerusalem, and from a place that many white stones have come from, and it has really deep biblical significance. Back in Jesus' time, I guess I thought I had a slide for that. I'll show you later. Back in Jesus' time, when someone was incarcerated, right, or locked up or contained, they would be given a white stone. And to write on that white stone who they were going to be when they are released. So it's kind of the same for us, that we get to, we're going to move, and you may have noticed, through our Christmas Eve service and then our burning bowl last week, we're really examining what is it that's inside of me, inside of you, that wants to be released so we can experience the fullness of who we are. Get all that fear, all that doubt, all that sort of collective consciousness, right? All these things that society tells us that we are or that we aren't, out of the way, so we can embrace the fullness of who we are. So we can roar. I made a resolution this year to read more, right? Because I enjoy reading, but I don't always find the time to do it. So what I decided to do was to put the captions on my TV, right? So I can get more reading in as I'm watching TV. And, and I also thought, I'm going to quit a lot of the bad habits I have this year. And just, I'm just going to quit. And then I realized, well, nobody likes a quitter. So, and I made a New Year's resolution to lose 10 pounds. Yeah, anybody else sort of want to do that too? And I only have 15 to go. That one's kind of a slow, one. Kind of builds. You have to kind of think about that. And did you hear about the guy who stole the calendar from Long's Drugs? Yeah, he got 12 months. All right. Hopefully it'll go uphill from here or downhill from here. I'm not sure which way it's going to go. Which would you like, uphill or downhill? So, the idea of listening is so important on our spiritual journey. And a lot of times we spend more time talking than we do listening. And I really think that the key to spiritual evolvement is about listening. Listening to that inner voice, that not the one that says you can't do this or you're not good enough, right? But the one that says, I love you. You are powerful. You are an amazing spiritual individual. And why don't you forgive that person? Why don't you forgive yourself? Why don't you love yourself? And that little voice that we're opening to is our spiritual teacher. It's what's inside of you and desiring for you to be the best that you can be. And really, that which you desire, your story is within you. And many people spend years and years on spiritual discovery, looking for the solution in this book or that's this teacher or that teacher. But the truth of it is, it's in here. Your teacher is in here. Everything that you need to know is in here. And so this exercise, the ceremony we're about today, is really about, it's practicing tuning in so we can experience the fullness of who we are. And this white stone ceremony that we're about today it comes from the book of Revelation. Now, if you ever want to have an interesting read, right, read the book of Revelation. There's so many opinions about what's the purpose of that book, right? It's like somebody took some psilocybin, and wrote a book in the Bible with all of the wild stuff that goes on in that book. But I believe that in the midst of that, if we look at the deeper interpretation, I like to call the metaphysical interpretation of that book, we can find that there is really some useful, powerful information in there. And this ceremony comes from the book of Revelation. So in Revelation chapter 2, verse 17, the author wrote, "Let anyone who has an ear listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches." Now, if you look at that literally, you might think that the Spirit is a God up in the cosmos someplace, and that the church is a church building. But if we look at it metaphysically, everyone has ears, right? But it's not talking about these ears. It's talking about that inner listening and paying attention to what our soul, our highest being, desires from us. And so that the Spirit is our own high consciousness. And the Spirit is talking to the churches, and we are the churches. You are the church. You are the being that is being transformed, and as that church, you have an impact on the world. And so we're going to really look at today, how can we do that? So this scripture is really saying, if we listen to that inner spirit, and what it's saying to us, will understand our lives, the situations we're in, our relationships on a deeper level. The second scripture says, to everyone who conquers, I will give some of the hidden manna. At first glance, you go, conquers what? So to conquer means that we are able to rise above the fear, that we're able to conquer the illusions in our own mind and in our own experience. And we're able to move beyond the doubts and the fears that our society reflects to us, and our ego sometimes points out to us, to move past that, and we will receive some of the hidden manna. Now, you might remember when Moses was leading the Israelites, right? They were fed by manna, the Bible says. And so what is manna? Manna is spiritual food. It can be translated like, it means like we're eating something, right? No, what we're doing is ingesting the truth, the essence of, because what we discover on the spiritual path is the more that we ingest truth and awareness, the easier coping with the challenges in our lives become. Have you ever noticed that? Nobody. All right. I know you have, because you wouldn't be here, right? You probably wouldn't be here unless you knew that was true, because what we do every Sunday is offer some manna, some spiritual food, because Unity and Centers of Spiritual Living and New Thought churches are all about delivering that manna, giving us spiritual truth that we can chew on and ingest, so that we can experience our lives fuller and not be so caught up in the challenges that face us in our lives. Yeah? Isn't that what you want? Isn't that why you're here? Yeah?
I thought it said to everyone who has computers.
Well, that's a topic for another talk. Someone said that they thought that it said computer. So anyway, so the third verse says, from chapter 2, verse 17 of Revelation, and I will give a white stone, and on the white stone is written a new name that no one knows except for the one who receives it. So what you receive today is unique to you, because it comes from your higher power, your higher source, and it is meant explicitly for you. And some people say, well, we shouldn't share these things, this whatever we get, because it is given to us in secret. And my thought is always, don't share it unless the person is going to embrace what it says for you and embrace who you are in it. And so just to kind of just be careful, because it is very delicate information that is meant just for you, and someone else might not understand it. So here's the picture I was looking for. So back in biblical times, when somebody was released from jail, they were given a white stone, and they carried that with them to help them to remember, and they wrote on it what they were embracing, the truth of who they are. And so I hope for you today that you'll take this white stone that we're about and put it on your altar or put it in your car, someplace where it can remind you. It's like a physical affirmation of what the truth is for you. So we want to take it with you and be with it and let it inspire you. You know, the just to be clear, this isn't magic, right? Even though it comes from Jerusalem, it's just a stone, right? And what it makes it powerful is what we write on it. So, some people say, well, Rev, does that mean this stone is magic? No, it's no more magic than the truth that we put on it, the inspiration that that aligns with our thoughts that we place on the white stone. So take out your white stone, and just all of them are different. They all have different necks, and some of them have some cracks. And I invite you just to kind of embrace it. Again, not because it's sacred, but because it's going to be it's going to receive your truth, what your highest desire is for yourself. And so we just want to kind of embrace it and go, wow, this is special. This is yours, and you get to take it home with you today. And I invite you to do that. So before we can really do this ceremony and have it mean something, we have to be willing to do it. Right? Willingness is the first step in spiritual evolvement. So my question is, are you willing to have a new name? Are you willing to open your heart, open your mind, receive from Spirit what Spirit has for you today? And the truth of it is, you really have nothing to lose, right? Well, you might have something to lose if you don't do it. Right? Because some people go, well, that's kind of a hokey kind of a ceremony. And, I can understand somebody's belief about that because it is our beliefs that give the essence to the things that we experience.
Can you say a little more about giving yourself a new name, what that means to actually change?
No, I think you missed that because you came in late. We talked about that earlier. We're not actually giving ourselves a new name. We're giving ourselves a new way of being. We're opening to Spirit to offer us more than a name, but it's offering us sort of a way to experience the world, or to be more compassionate, to be more loving. Yeah.
Okay, because I was afraid I was going to get Gomer or Clyde.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think anything's possible for you. I think if we start calling you Gomer or Clyde, right? Would we all be in agreement that we would do that? And instead of Adam, what should you prefer, Gomer or Clyde?
I'll look for the gift inside.
Gomer, I'm going to write that down. I kind of like that for you. Because everything comes out of our subconscious, right? And so if it came to your presence of mind, what there is of it, of course, then Gomer is. See, when you speak out in unity, you're asking for trouble. I know the same thing is true when you're up here. That was Adam, ladies and gentlemen, watching. We're going to call him Gomer from now on. And I understand he sings a lot like Gomer Pyle. Anyway, let's not get distracted on that. Also, the truth is, are you willing to discover your new name? So think about it, and then I invite you just to say this to yourself. I am willing to discover my new name. I am willing to discover my new name. And let's say it together. I am willing to discover my new name. Sometimes, affirmations and denials kind of go hand in hand. Oftentimes, what keeps us from affirming something is that we're holding on to something else, something that's not true. Someone said that the mind can only hold one thought at a time. And if we're holding thoughts of separateness or fear or lack, we can't really get into a space of affirming the truth. So a denial is a powerful tool for sort of erasing those ideas. And so I often tell people it's kind of an optional thing to use a denial. We don't always need them. Often an affirmation is enough. But just play with this one and feel how this feels to say this denial in this way. I let go of old thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that no longer serve me. And breathe into that to feel that. And let's say it together. I let go of old thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that no longer serve me. And just breathe that and feel that. In Matthew, the author wrote, "Strive first for the kingdom, and all these things will be given to you." So when we strive to be in that kingdom of heaven, which is not a place outside of us, it's right here. This is the kingdom of heaven right here, where we are in consciousness. So when we strive first to experience the kingdom of heaven, all things are possible. And John wrote, I have food to eat that you do not know about. This is a quote of Jesus. He said, I have food to eat that you do not know about. He was referring to manna, or he was referring to truth, right? Jesus' whole adventure on this planet was about offering truth to people. That's what he did. And the beauty of it is that so many people didn't know it, didn't understand it. I think they still don't. But he was offering that truth to say, you may not know about this, but this stuff is going to change your life. This truth is going to change your life. And I will give a white stone, and on the white stone is written a new name that no one knows except for the one who receives it. Rumi said, your mind, this globe of awareness, is a starry universe. When you push off with your foot, 1,000 new roads become clear. So what he's saying is, when we step off into this new beginning, embracing this new way of being, when you step off into this new way of being, 1,000 new roads will show up for you. And Alan Cohen says, do not wait until the conditions are perfect to begin. Some people say, well, I'm not ready for change. I don't know, And he says, beginning makes the conditions perfect. As soon as we begin something new, your opportunity today to begin something new, this is the perfect time. And Meister Eckhart wrote, and suddenly it's time to start something new and trust the magic of new beginnings. And I think it's Robin. You want to give us a little emphasis, energy to move into meditation?
I will change your name. You shall no longer be called you're afraid, I will change your name. Your new name shall be confidence, joyfulness, overcoming one, faithfulness, friend of God, one who seeks my face. I will change your name. You shall no longer be called wounded, outcast, lonely or afraid. I will change your name. Your new name shall be confidence, joyfulness, overcoming one, faithfulness, friend of God, one who seeks my face.
Breathing in and breathing out. Relaxing into this moment. Relaxing into the moment where spirit abides. To that place near your heart. To that place of love. To the place of peace. To the secret place. This is a sacred time. A time for you to know yourself. And let us think of this beautiful promise in the Old Testament. I will give you a white stone, and on it a new name, a name that only you can know. Testing. Oh, we let go of apparent distractions. Breathing in. And imagine at the very center of your heart, you see yourself accepting a white stone. There's no past, there's no present, there's no future. There's just now. The brightness of now. And I invite you to hold the white stone and to gaze at it and just imagine that something is written there. A way of being. A way for you to demonstrate and experience your wholeness. What would that be? What would that look like? What would you look like? Feel like? Perhaps it's to be compassionate, to be loving, to be creative, to be powerful, to be blessed, to be a perfect expression of all that you are. What word or phrase arises from the truth of who you are that says, yes, this is the new you. Breathing in and breathing out. And let's take just a moment or two just to open up, to receive. And once you receive the new name, to hold it gently with your heart. And let's take a moment to do that now. And imagine that you are this that you have written. You are being this in the very depths of your beingness, in your mind, in your thoughts, in your feelings, and in your actions. You are this. Breathing in and breathing out. And I invite you to experience the feelings that come up for you as you embrace this new, revised version of yourself. To feel the happiness, the joy, the power, the love. Breathing in and breathing out. I am expressing my divine potential right now. And let's remind ourselves by whispering this affirmation to the depths of our being, to our mind, our body, our soul, our spirit, our highest self. And let's whisper it together. I am expressing my divine potential right now. Breathing in and breathing out. I invite you to begin to bring your awareness back to this moment and to open your eyes. Well, again, thank you for being here today and creating this amazing space with us. And I invite you now to prepare your love offerings. Got mine buried here somewhere. There it is. And as you take out your gift, I invite you to hold it to your heart, if that's comfortable for you, and just to embrace it. Because, as you give, you receive. As we give love, we receive love. And I think it's good to remember that these symbols of abundance are energy. And the way that we share our energy, we receive it back. And so thank you for sharing your love, your presence with us today. And I invite you to take your love offering in your hand, and let's affirm and pray together our affirmation of prosperity, which begins together. Through a grateful, giving heart, my mind and life overflow with the abundance of God's all-providing, infinite supply. And so it is. Namaste. These gifts that have come to us in love, we hold them, we bless them, we give thanks for them. And we know that they move through this ministry, across these islands and out into the world. And we behold a world that's filled with love, with light, with hope, with peace, and with joy. And so it is. Namaste. Thank you. All right, we've got just a few announcements today. If you would like to bring flowers some Sunday, there's a sign-up sheet on the back table with a little Christmas tree, and you can pick a date, sign up and bring flowers, and we will gladly acknowledge whatever it is you'd like to celebrate. And then on that particular day, and then the greatest part of that is you get to take the flowers home with you after the service. We're having a sound bath meditation that Carrie Sawyer is doing on Saturday, January 13th from 4 to 5 p.m. right here. It's a great way to come and just be in the vibration of these crystal bowls. It's quite an amazing experience. If you haven't done it before, I invite you to try it. It's a great way just to be with yourself, to be with your higher power, and just relax into the moment. Also, next week I'm starting a 5-week series based on the Bhagavad Gita. I've only briefly understood what it was about, and somehow I feel really inspired to dive into it because it is a guide to life and spirituality. And it's the whole teaching is really a conversation between Arjuna, who is a Pandava prince, and his spiritual guide, Krishna. And Arjuna is faced with an amazing dilemma that reflects our own dilemma often on our spiritual path. And so next week, we're going to look at Krishna's teaching and his advice to Arjuna in this incredibly difficult situation that he has to decide what to do while he is warring with his family. So come and join us next week. That'll be happening next week, and my talk is titled The Spiritual Crusader's Dilemma, often one that we have ourselves. And if you enjoyed today's talk, there's a walk your talk on the back table, kind of a summary of everything we talked about today, so you can take it home with you and remember what it's all about. And today we are taking down these amazing Christmas decorations that we have so lovingly put up and celebrated during our Christmas season. So if you have some time, please stay afterwards and give us a hand. Many hands makes the work light. So thank you in advance for doing so. And I think that about wraps it up. So why don't we stand and take a deep breath, and we'll say the prayer for protection together, and then we'll join in a circle and sing the peace song. So, getting centered and focused, and let's say the prayer for protection together. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us wherever we are. God is. God bless you. Thank you for being here today. Let's join hands.